Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis. It's been the journos in Paul Crawley and Dave Riccio. Let's take a look at the Sportsbet team selections for round 6. For the Bulldogs, Sherry returns in the centre position with Crichton out injured. Flanagan for the Dragons at 7. Atkinson moved to 6. Sloan also for the Dragons replaces Gutherson at fullback. For the Bronx, Reynolds named despite groin injury. Brendan Smith returns for the Bunnies, and for the Warriors, Metcalf unfortunately out with a hamstring injury. But Shane Flanagan-Gordy officially moves Kyle to 7 and Atkinson to 6.
Yeah, well, they say that Atkinson is a running 5'8", so Kyle's got to run the ship now. So if that's a change that the Dragons need, they take away last week. They've been pretty competitive in every game, just haven't been able to get some points. So hopefully this is a better combination for the Dragons.
What I don't understand is why has it taken 6 rounds? Like Atkinson, I understand he was brought there to play 7, but it was obvious to all that he's not a natural 7. If he's anything, he's a natural 6. He's a running 6. Flanagan has been a 7 throughout his career. I just don't know why it's taken this long to get back to where it should have started.
Don't you reckon they would have wanted to give him some time, Crawls? This was their high-profile recruit. Atkinson certainly made it known that he wanted to be a half in the NRL that can run a footy team and be a dominant half. Wasn't it about giving him some time in the position?
What I'm saying is hindsight has told us that their recruitment strategy is not up to scratch. And on several fronts, I think that's the case at the moment.
Why do you think he's made the call this week, Shane?
Well, he's made the call this week because, unfortunately for Daniel Atkinson last week, Braith, it became a point of no return. Like Kyle wasn't there last week. He'd put four grubber kicks dead, I think it was. There was no direction. The kid looked uncomfortable. He was going backwards. There's so much pressure around the team. I really felt sorry for him. When I saw Flanagan's press conference after the game the other day, and a lot of people were showing great sympathy and emotion for him. But I'm thinking, well, this young playmaker has actually been put in a position that he shouldn't have been put into. That's how I saw it. And then all the talk starts that he's going to be the one under pressure, and yet again you're going to have another young halfback at that club that's going to be thrown under the bus. Thankfully, he's actually been moved to the position now where he should have started.
I don't know. You've got a lot of sympathy for him, Crawls. This is a guy that left Cronulla for an opportunity to play in a starting halves position at St George Illawarra on very good money. And this is an opportunity he wanted, but you're very sympathetic.
Mate, I'm sympathetic because they threw him into a job, Dave, that he couldn't do. And he wasn't capable of doing it. And that's the problem with the Dragons, Dave. Like, you can beat around the bush every way you want, right? Their halves situation has been a problem under Shane Flanagan. And it traces back to the fact that they've had Kyle there. Kyle's been extended. They've let Lachie Ilias go. Now, people might say he wasn't the answer. Well, guess what? Shane signed him to go from South to there. Jonah Glover was another kid that didn't get his opportunity. He went to South this year. They've got no one around him. We spoke about this last week, mate. Yes, Kyle is their best option for 7 at the moment because they haven't got anyone else. And it all goes back to their recruitment over the last 3 years.
Or even time in there. Like, if you look at guys, so I'll look at the Titans, right? Tanner Boyd left us. He couldn't get a start. He goes to the Warriors. So the time and effort that they've put in him, what Webster's been able to do and to turn him around, like that's the improvement I think the Dragons would like to see when they get a recruit, the time and effort that it takes to turn them into a good halfback or 5'8".
Jacob Little has addressed the pressure on their halves as the Dragons are yet to win in 2026.
New spine, we're trying to work on that, and a few people coming in and out, so it's just communication, and we'll put in a good performance soon, I reckon. No one's lumped on Atco at all. It's a team performance. Just making me a bit angry. It's not Atco's fault at all. The boys across the board from 1 to 17 are not putting in a good enough game. So, yeah, we'll work on that, obviously. Everyone needs to look at their own game, look in the mirror and focus on what they're good at and put that in place.
Jacob Little there, clearly frustrated and with their results, and also...
Was that you asking the question?
It was a good reaction, though.
Yeah.
It shows a bit of passion and emotion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On the current
and defending
situation.
Atkinson as well, and obviously saying it's not just
That's
his
what good
fault.
teammates do.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
Yeah, again, I thought it was great passion and emotion. Look, I'm with Crawls. This is the best halves option they've got at the moment, okay? And yes, it's taken 5 rounds to get to this point in time, but I think it's the right one. I think Atkinson's definitely a better running 6, and I've sat here saying that it was his dream to be a dominant half in this NRL competition.
I don't buy that. I don't buy
I'm only going off an interview that I did with him, Brave.
Yeah, I know that, but just because a player says it's his dream, it doesn't mean it's his responsibility if a team signs him and puts him in a halfback position if he's not a halfback.
Yeah.
Like I want to win the lotto tomorrow. I want to win the Masters. Like there's a lot of dreams.
I can only go on what the kid tells me.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying to you is you're kind of using it as it's his fault, not the Dragons' fault.
I don't think it's his fault, no.
Why do you keep bringing it up for?
Because they've had a crack at it, right?
Yeah, but the responsibility you're kind of putting on him because it was his dream. But it's the coach and the recruitment to recruit players that are right for that position to do the best for that team and the club. It's not a kid's dream. That's not why you go and buy someone.
I understand. My only response to that is I'm wondering how much 7 he actually has been playing. And whether these are just numbers on these 2 players' backs. Like a Trindle Hines scenario, like a Cherry Evans Walker scenario. Have we seriously been seeing Daniel Atkinson run the team in the 7 jersey?
But I have a problem with that too, and I'll tell you why. Whether this is real or not real, right, there is definitely a perception out there that the reason this happened was to take the pressure off Kyle. Because the 7 owns the result, that comes with the burden. And the fact that Kyle was moved to 6 this year, Atkins handed the 7's job. If it doesn't work, you're the one in the crosshairs. And if that's right or not, we will never know. But there's definitely a perception out there, and that's what a lot of people think. Now that we've seen that turn around, you're entitled to wonder why it didn't start.
There's also been players bought at clubs for certain positions, but straight away been switched. I mean,
sure.
Like Zach Lomax, for example. Like he wanted to play a certain position, signs at a club on certain money for that position, but they throw it out. They just throw it out straight away because they do what's best for the team moving forward.
Crawls, if it is indeed the perception, which I can't argue with, to take pressure off Kyle, he's now been placed in the biggest pressure game with the 7 on his back to try and save Dragon season. So
he's played every game for 2 years.
Yeah, so and he's
but
the jersey switch
pretty much
has been made in the most important game of the year.
Anyway,
the ones previous have been pretty important. Like they've lost 9 straight.
Yeah. All right, Sloane to fullback with Gutherson injured. Now the big question now is Gutherson. Where does he return? Is it to fullback? We heard from Dean Ritchie last night, who had spoken to the coach, but didn't say that the coach had told him this. But there was kind of an insinuation this may be the case that he's not going to be returning at fullback.
See, I'm not questioning Bulldogs' mail last night. So Bulldogs sat there and he said he could return at centre, he could return on the wing. And as I'm watching that, I'm thinking to myself, well, if that is the case, and regardless if he got that off the coach or someone at the club, but if that's being leaked to the media, again, I look at that as complete disrespect to the captain, because it was only a few days ago, late last week, where Gutherson spoke to the media. He was asked about his position and he still felt that he was the best number 1 at that club. So when he's then out on injury, right, and that's leaked as almost coming across to me like another excuse, we're going to change this up, move him out of his position. I just think it's a lack of respect. Like the captain in any sporting team, they're the most revered and respected in the group. And if you're leaking that information about your captain, I can't understand how that would not cause a rift or some sort of divide in the dressing room.
I can't argue with you on that, but actions speak louder than words. And I think Sloane, right? So when I look at the Dragons and you boil it down, no one's gone there and developed.
You've been calling for Sloane for a number of weeks, Gordy.
Well, I watched them play against Parramatta. They were in everything. He played reserve grade. They won by 30 points, right? You need X factor. Right, you look at Melbourne Storm, they throw in a young kid in there. You just got to defend their mistakes. Reece Walsh a couple of years ago, he made more errors than anybody else in the competition. But look what he did within 2 years. He won them a competition. So I think when you got these young talent, we don't have reserve grade. We can't sit them there where they get tough and they learn how to play. They come pretty much from school, get thrown into men, and we judge them on that. But when they're there, I think you've got to teach them on the run and try to develop them. And I think at the Dragons, when I sit there and look at them, all their young kids haven't just been able to take the next step.
Yeah, I look at Sloan and I just look at a kid that looks like he needs a cuddle. You know, like one of those coaches, like a Wayne Bennett. You know, it's to get in there and get the best out of him and show him some love and put some faith and belief in him. And I think, Gordy, you're right. Like, if you look at the recruitment and the way they've gone the last sort of couple of years, their emphasis has been on older senior players that come in for a quick fix, more so than actually development, you know, which is big these days. The game has changed. It's not the same as it was a decade ago, 15 years ago. It's very different. You got to put faith, trust, belief, work, time and effort into the kids you've got. They've got a great nursery and they've got some great kids coming through. What they won was it the SG Ball a couple of years. They've been there in all grades for a long time now. They've got the cattle. It comes down to development and coaching.
I have no doubt that they need to shake things up. My reaction there was to do with the fact that I thought there was a lack of respect. Even if that's going to happen, there's ways to do things, and leaking it to the media is not the way when you're talking about your captains.
Well, it's just a bad sign because it's a sign of a club that's in a bit of trouble and everyone's passing the buck a little bit. And
fighting for survival.
Like Reedy said last night, you know, shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic.
I think this way.
Who's playing the violin? That's what I want.
In answer to your question, Braith, what does this mean for Gutherson? I think it absolutely just comes down to Tyrell Sloan. If Sloan plays a game and shows enough, I think he retains the fullback spot.
All right, Bulldogs GM of footy, Phil Gould, has addressed Serrato's decision to replace Crichton with O'Sullivan in their Good Friday loss against the Bunnies.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened on the day, right? The coach didn't want me to say this, but I'm going to say it. So what happened was Crichton goes down, right? The medical team goes on to assess the injury. It came back that Crichton will be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Sean O'Sullivan is there to cover halves and hooker. If he puts Bronson on, he can't go and use Sean if one of those goes down. It was told him that Critter would be back in 5 minutes. He said, well, I'm not putting Bronson out there for 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, the message comes back, Critter's not coming back, and he's already made the replacement. Now, at the press conference, he was asked, and he said, I needed Sean to do some leadership. He didn't want to offend the doctor.
Gus Gould there explaining the situation that happened on Good Friday against the Bunnies when Stephen Crichton went down.
That was a bit clearer.
It was a bit clearer, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Did you think that now you totally understand?
Well, they got to make a decision and the time, and we weren't sure on how long, because I think Dog asked last night, how long do you get to make that decision on who you're going to throw on? Is he going to come back? Then you've got 2 centres out there or 3 centres. So that was a little bit clearer that they weren't sure.
Crawls is not buying it.
What, you're not buying
Crawls
it?
is not buying it.
How do you know?
Because I can tell, mate.
I know Crawls. I don't reckon he's buying it either.
You're not going to go through the self-checkers?
All I'll say is that...
And I don't know why you're not buying it.
I understand what they're saying. What I didn't understand was when Gus just said then about not wanting to disrespect the doctor, right? So we'll disrespect all our playmakers by saying, oh, well, we took Crichton off the field because he's our best communicator, so we had to put Sullivan out there. Well, what about your halfback? What about your 5'8"? What about your hooker? But can't they talk? Well, like I thought that was a pretty strange response from Serraldo.
I don't think the categories they can't talk, Crawls. It's a case of actually being an actual on-field communicator and leader of the football team, of which Stephen Crichton is without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I understand that's what your 6 and 7 are, but unfortunately they're not as good as Crichton.
Not leader.
As good as Crichton.
Yeah.
That's the catch. So...
What do we think of the actual decision that was made here when Crichton got injured? The actual move, even though we've got the further explanation now, it's clear as to why they didn't put Sherry like for like in. Do we think that that's okay? Oh, well, do we agree then still now with the decision they made?
I agree with it, Braith, and I'll tell you why, because I'm a supporter of that makeup of the halves, of O'Sullivan with Galvin and Burton in the centres. That's.
I understand that, and that's a good point because I think.
Do you support that?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Listen, I'm not going to say yes because I'm not sold on O'Sullivan. I've been sold by everyone talking him up.
No, I understand
but
that.
I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to see it because I don't know what's happening in the pre-season.
In answer to your question, I thought it was a good move because I believed in O'Sullivan. Yeah. However, I think he botched it. I think he botched the opportunity.
Yeah.
Really.
But the only thing I would say is, like mid-game, you know, like when they're actually going pretty good, like that, you know, there wasn't like they were struggling in the halves. If they were struggling in the halves and you know, you definitely do. I would say definitely you would do it, but because they looked pretty good and they were a chance of winning the game, and the halves are actually performing well, I wouldn't have unsteadied the ship. I wouldn't have chucked a spanner in the works, because that's where you get your game plan. That's where you get your cohesion. That's the epicenter of where your team operates, and then infiltrates throughout the rest of the side. And really depends on whether you win or lose is your spine. And I didn't think it was necessary to interrupt that when you had a like for like, regardless of the explanation. And that's just my opinion. Everyone's going to have one on this.
And you talk about you've got question marks over Sullivan, because understandably he's been at several clubs throughout his career, and he's struggled to nail down a spot. Where I think the issue is also is the fact that if you've got two players on the open market tomorrow and you've got to win a game of football, and you put Matt Burton there and you put Lachlan Galvin there, and you've got to pick a 6 out of one of those, Burton's the bloke I'd take. I still think Burton is the best half in that combination. I think if Galvin's pushing for the 7 spot with O'Sullivan, well and good, but it continues to be that Burton's the one getting shuffled around to make Galvin happy.
You mentioned before Gus, and do you think they've disrespected Burton with the way they've handled him?
I do. I listened to Reedy last night about the fact that, we might get to November and you might find he might be the one that's, pushed out of the club and a deal's done. Well, how does that not play on his mind now?
What do you think?
How does it not?
Do you think that is between the four walls? So you see, obviously, and I don't want to keep on bringing it up, but there was Sexton and Marnie, and then you go, Bronson Cherry, and now there's all this talk around Burton. Do you reckon that has a bit of an influence on what's happening?
I asked you about it last week. You said, of course it plays on your mind, Gordy, because there is this constant chatter in the public forum about Matt Burton being the one that will ultimately be pushed out. And now that he's being moved out of his preference choice of positions...
Crawls, he's a versatile player.
He is, mate, but they've also got Bronson Cherry, who's
not a versatile player.
But he's a centre, mate.
Yep.
He's a centre, right? So him and Crichton... Yes, Matt Burton can play centre, but Burton's also a better 5'8" than Galvin in my books at this stage. And I just think that the guy that probably should be holding the card in his hand is the one that's being sort of rissoled.
On the surface, I can understand what you're saying as far as Burton feeling disrespected. I made calls today to Burton's manager and asked these questions, and he said he's fine. They're fine. It's completely open communication within the Bulldogs and Burton on the role that you're going to play within this team to get the result for us. He's not disgruntled or anything like that.
What is that role?
He's a versatile footballer who can play 6 or centre. We saw it at Penrith as well. We've seen it at Origin level.
So he's the number 14 then.
But he can play 6 or centre. At this stage, this weekend, he's the starting 6.
All right, Dave, Bronson Cherry has been recalled. He's back in favour?
He is, Braith, and it has. It's taken a bit of a shift from away from talks of wanting out, dropped to New South Wales Cup, and understandably Bronson's attitude towards training and preparation for the fight to get back into the NRL has had a positive effect, and he's back in.
All right, the Tigers pull off Golden Point win on Easter Monday in a thriller. Sit second on the ladder. The West Tigers, they are playing out of their skin. What an improvement it is, and what a breath of fresh air it has been watching these guys play the first 5 weeks of this year, huh?
I got a crook back, and a bloke walked past me in the street today and smacked me on the back. He says, "What about those Tigers?" There's just so much excitement about them at the moment. The footy they're playing, that game was just so unreal, wasn't it? From go to woe, the two teams put in absolutely everything. They left nothing out on the park. Benji's done a great job. You really feel so good for, from Adam Dewey to Jock Madden, like a guy that hadn't played NRL for more than a year?
Yeah.
And he's come back in 2 games, and he's put himself in a position where I think when Luai comes back, how do you not...
What are they going to do?
Well,
he stays there.
He stays at 7, doesn't he? Luai 6, and maybe move Dewey to the centres. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah, no, you keep him as a number 7. You wouldn't say...
Dewey has been the glue that's
unbelievable.
Unlocked this...
But I'm just saying, I couldn't put him out of the team, but I'm saying that it's a great headache for Benji to have.
What are you doing, Dave?
I'm Dewey and Luai, with greatest respect to Jock Madden, who's been sensational, absolutely sensational. You could use him as a 14 off the bench.
Yeah, you could do that.
But, mate, I'm not moving Dewey, who I firmly believe has been one of the most big...
He has been.
He's been the biggest influence on the Tigers.
I would
Don't you
fit
play
the
him as
3
a
of them in.
ball-running lock? just sitting on
Gordy.
an edge and just go and play.
Gordy, we've just had discussions about Cole Flanagan,
Yep.
Daniel Atkinson, Matt Burton, moving them around. Now you want to move.
And they've got Lachlan Fainu there
One of the
too.
biggest
The only-
linchpins for the West Tigers.
The only reason why I'd say it is before a ball was kicked this year, were you telling me that Dewey's going to be the Tigers' answer at number 6?
Would I believe
Yeah.
that? No, I wouldn't. He's been terrific.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah, it'd be hard to move him. I'm with you on this one, Dave. I think you know, if you're looking long-term premiership, and Jock's been amazing, and he can fill the void now there, and they might, Benji may keep him there, but I don't think it'll happen. I think Dewey and Illawarra will be the halves. Now Moses receives official warning after constant badgering of referees. I think he touched them a few times too, which we'll get to. He touched them 3 times. What did we think of this during the game yesterday?
Look, I know you're not supposed to do it. I know, and it wasn't the other guy in the Balmain jersey that patted him on the head, big block. So just to touch him. So do you know what? I know it's not a great look and it does filter down, but maybe a warning letter. Say, listen, mate, you can't touch him, but I don't think it's that bad.
Well, that's what he got. He got an official warning
It
from
was
the
more
NRL.
the badgering I hear, more so than the touching, but combined.
Yeah, and I think it's necessary. Like, match officials are so pivotal to the game.
But that's why the
and we bag
captain's
them. We
challenge
absolutely give them hell.
Absolutely
Like, we bag
we do.
that crap out of them, but they're absolutely pivotal to the game, and they need to be
We're actually
sacrificed.
about to talk about them. the
Well,
referees.
it was a highly emotional game, right? And you get that he was getting frustrated and agitated and over emotional, but it's his job to keep his cool. You know, and the great captains, that's
Sometimes
what they
it's
do.
hard, Crawls.
It is, Gordon. I've seen you at it.
You'd know.
No, but I'm
you're
just
off your
saying.
head.
I'm just saying.
I forgot about that.
I reckon the more you can work with the referee,
Yeah.
the more you'll get back.
Yeah, but I reckon the game's a lot better, right?
Yesterday, he
because
was
the
just
captain's
teetering
challenge-
on becoming a little bit
Yeah.
out of control.
Yeah, going back to where it was 3 years ago, before the captain's challenge, now the referee can move on. If you don't want to challenge it, move on.
Although I did love the fact that he wanted it badly yesterday, and he was
Absolutely.
everywhere, and he was trying his hardest to get that win for his club. 2 late crucial head-eye calls. What did we think of them? Let's start with the hit on Moses, which we thought was going to be the match winner.
Unfortunately, in the modern game,
Look at Moses.
right? That's a penalty.
He's so good.
But geez, it's bad. It's a bad look for rugby league. Like that's not the game we love. This is not what you'd want to see.
Oh, come on.
decide
That's
a
terrible.
final or an origin or any important
That's
game. You know?
terrible.
Like but
What do you mean
Dave,
terrible?
the referees are caught
That's
between
so
a rock
soft.
and a hard place. Guess why? Because Moses is the one lying on the ground like he's just been shot.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got the one that was after it, which to me looked like a square up from the referee.
We're
It
lucky
was
that the footy
worse.
gods. Well, we're lucky the footy gods. They're both as soft as each other.
But Gordy, this is just where the game doesn't want to go. You spoke about it last night too, Braith. You know, like
But what if we don't? So what if he does slip
come
into
it doesn't have to be a reportable offence, but sometimes you've got to turn a
at
blind
that,
eye to these
It
things.
was like magic round there for
was.
just 2 minutes. Just for 2 minutes.
But you know what? The referee did show a lot of courage when Walker runs out.
Yeah.
To penalise him because we've
Well, he
watched that a
was.
lot.
Yeah.
But like, we've watched that a lot where they're not prepared to blow.
In all seriousness, it's Crawls is spot on. This is running a very, very fine line between players laying down,
That's
right, for the softest of knocks to the head, of which will turn the game into something that we don't want.
I said last night you'll get more captain's challenges just if you get a clip on the head, because you'll win the challenge if there's contact with the head, because that's just what the rule is.
Yes.
So that is a concern. But the NRL have said both are penalties. You can't hit people in the head. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple.
Yeah, I know.
It's not
It's
that
not.
simple
I'm
because
just telling you what they
you know
said.
the only people that can really fix this are the players, because by the referees' rules that is a penalty.
No, but the
if
referee
you
did
don't
it-
want the game to become like
Yeah.
that, you've got to tell the players and tell your players
We called the game
to get
at
up and
Shark
play
Park,
on.
Yeah.
and one of the Warriors players come on, and he went for a try. He didn't score it. He laid there and milked it. The referee sent him off for HIA. He was blowing up because he tried to milk it. That's what
Yeah.
they got to do. If you lay down, you go off for 15 minutes. You'll stop laying
Imagine
down.
they sent Moses to the HIA after that.
There you go, for 15 minutes because you've complained about it. It must have been that hard.
All right, from minor premiers to 1 and 4, what is going on with Ricky's Raiders? This
Discipline. It's discipline. It's individuals giving away penalties. It's someone getting thrown in the sin bin, 6 agains, not contesting a bomb. Like all these individual mistakes are adding up, and it's put the Raiders in a position now where after 5 rounds they're sitting second last on the ladder. They've got the Rabbitohs coming up this week in Perth. After that, it's the Storm and the Tigers, and I truly think that their crunch time has come now. Because last year's minor premiers are dead set in a position where if they don't turn it around fast, they won't make the top 4. And the longer it goes on, the more chance they are of missing out in the 8. And it all comes down to their own bad habits. And unfortunately, you know, it can be 1 or 2 players one week, the next week it can be 6 or 7, and you just can't win football games when you're giving away that much opportunity. I think they completed it like in the 70% on the weekend.
Can they turn it around?
Well, they've got the ability to turn it around. We saw what they could do last year, you know, if they
They
get
just had
it
more
going.
green jerseys in the picture last year.
Yeah.
They worked really hard defensively. Like everybody's talking about their attack, but they were really gritty in defence, the Raiders. And you know, you just watch that ball, and it happens pretty much every
They've got
weekend,
the
but it
players,
bounces.
Gordy, haven't
Absolutely,
they?
they got the players.
At the moment, they haven't got the discipline.
What about young Sanders? He had such a great start to his Canberra Raiders career as starting half, and but is there pressure mounting on him off the back of these results?
Talking to Ricky Stewart about Ethan, they've got Sanders. They've got a lot of faith in him. And me personally, when I was looking at Canberra's start to this season, I always thought they would start slow, just on the basis of combination change in the spine with Ethan and Ethan together for the first time. I just thought it would be a tough initiation, and he's a young half.
Yeah.
The other thing too, guys, is which is I think is causing problems, of which is teething problems, and hopefully they can rectify, is changes on their edges, where a lot of teams are getting them. Noah Martin, Simi Sasangi, changes on their wings. Now this weekend, Xavier Savage, Savelio Tamale. Those edges, Matty Tomoko not there this year. They're taking time to gel. That combination.
You can get exposed on the edges
Yeah.
with injuries, and they were actually. There was a concern there last year with their edge
With Tomoko. Yep.
there, and now with new players coming in, new halves, you know, with
Yeah.
Sanders as well, a new combination having to be formed. Yeah, they're doing it tough. I thought they started the season well and were just going to kick this year, and I've been a bit shocked with the way that they've played. Ricky's not under pressure though, is he?
Braith, my inbox lights up because it's coach under pressure time, and so where's Ricky Stewart? Why isn't Ricky under pressure? And look, fair enough, they're obvious questions. They're struggling at the moment. But the one thing we know about the Raiders, as far as a board and management structure is concerned, they fully support their head coach, Ricky Stewart, like you wouldn't believe. They're a patient board, and they're not demanding or cutthroat as other boards or management structures in the NRL. Not only that, this bloke's coached over 500 first-grade games, to the tune of about a 50% strike rate. So they're a chance of winning every second game just over 500 games later, which I think is an extraordinary record.
Do they believe that they overachieved last year then, a little bit, with that young squad?
I don't think so. I think that at the moment they're just not playing to their potential. But I agree with you completely, mate. Ricky Stewart's not going to be under any pressure anytime soon at the Raiders. He actually puts that club on the map. You know, if Ricky says something, the league world stands and listens. The Raiders have really struggled for respect in the game for a long, long time. True. And Ricky's given them that respect. So love him or hate him, mate, they love him. And there's no way in the world they'll be getting rid of him. But no, I'm still disappointed with the way they started the season.
Yeah. Crawls, what's your beef of the week?
Beef of the week? Well, I gave Stephen Crichton a hard time last week about being the protected species. Well, I found another one, Latrell Mitchell. Right, Latrell, it was so good in parts on the weekend, and those 2 tries he scored, one was absolute speed, the other one was just freakish ability. But this incident involving Connor Tracy, that's just a cheap shot, and it didn't warrant a penalty, didn't warrant a suspension, but that's just pure luck that Tracy wasn't injured or something didn't go wrong there. And Latrell's got to realise what he means to that South Sydney team. And we've spoken about it in recent weeks, how him and Cody were letting harebrained moments just catch up on him. And I just thought to myself, the last thing Souths need is for Latrell to get put out. See, that's an absolute crap play. when he did that, you're just thinking to yourself, mate, he just didn't want to commit himself to that play, so he's just pushed it on. Dog score, was it next set? You know what I mean? Like, he's just got to be bigger than that. They're the side in this competition, I think, right now. Everyone says, can anyone beat Penrith? Well, I don't think we've seen anyone that can beat Penrith, but I think there's a lot of upside to South Sydney. I don't think we've seen anywhere near what they're capable of achieving, but they won't do it if he's sitting in the stand suspended.
I know Wayne wouldn't like that.
I don't think anyone likes that, though, mate. That's the sort of moment that could have injured Connor Tracy, and it's a cheap shot. That's what it is.
All right, stick around, journos. Don't forget it's Masters Week, and you can catch all the action on our dedicated Masters channel on Channel 503.
A player that your teammates want to play with, but the opposition hate playing against.
Hudson Young, here we go.
That's how I'd like to see myself.
What did you say to Reece Walsh to fire him up?
No, yeah, here we go, look at this.
You're allowed to antagonise players and stir them up.
I've heard you say that you always want to be the hardest worker.
Only you know if you do that, and then you know when you go home if you've stood tall.
Here's Hudson Young.
Did you feel a perception of you change? Like you can easily be just labelled drug cheap?
I was just a kid that loved playing footy that made a mistake.
Dangerous contact on his face.
Insinuating there's an eye gouge.
I know Ricky Stewart backed you publicly.
So much respect and time for him. I feel like that faith will be repaid when we win the comp.
Come on!
Welcome back. Tonight, following NRL 360, it's face-to-face with Hudson Young. Can't wait for that one. Hamole Olakuatu has been a Kieran Foran, played a huge part in his incredible performance on the weekend. Take a look.
I think it was just Foz giving me the green light to just play freely. You know, he knows what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm capable of too, and getting the green light from him to go and do what I do best and trying to get early involvement in the game, and you know, I felt like I did that.
Was that an issue before? Maybe too many restrictions?
Yeah, maybe. I don't want to take away Steve's credit. You know, he did have a good system for us and good process, but just, you know, being able to play under Foz, used to play, you know, alongside him as well in back end of his career, and you know, there was a bit of you know, something behind it as well, a bit of purpose, and you know, I went out there and played freely and kind of sort of played for him as well. So.
A career performance there from Olakuatu. The timing of it, quite coincidental. Kieran Foran takes over, plays to his strengths, and he was an absolute machine, a beast, and arguably one of the better games of his career.
Yeah, not good words for opposition. Left side defence, isn't it? Coming up where
Dragons.
Just go there, just go there, get involved, and probably simplify it. Sometimes you can overthink it yourself when you lose, so... yeah, but what a performance, Manly, didn't they?
To be proud, didn't he?
But he said, didn't he? He said, he was asked the question by the journalist there, too many rules. He said, yeah, maybe. Like, we could see it all, couldn't we? From the opening minutes of that game, we could see a different style of attack from Manly, which was just run hard, run straight. Jake had 7 first-half runs. Like, the previous weeks he'd had 2 runs for the entire game. And he tucked the ball under his arm. And I'll tell you what, even from Jake's perspective, we were questioning last week, will he not just get through next year? Will he be able to maintain his spot in the team this year? And just the change of game plan has proven what a valuable member he still is to that side.
This is what people underestimate. You know, like they think, you get rid of the coach, doesn't mean anything's going to change. But in this instance, it's not even the fact that Kieran Foran come in, who's a club legend, but he changed the game plan and he played to their strengths. He brought their forward pack back into the game. You know, he gave them an opportunity to get their belief and confidence back and feel like they're actually a part of a team. And just run the footy like they've grown up doing since they played nappy grade through to where they are now. Like, they were just on board with numbers, offloads, quick play the balls, get it to Tommy. Like, you know, it's a pretty simple game plan that it reinvigorated Jake. We had Jake on the chopping block, everyone did.
Yeah.
Have a look at the difference in performance, and not just because of Kieran again, but because of the style of play.
Yeah.
They played to their strengths.
Not everybody needs to know every role in the team. And we've got ourselves upside down. Stay in your lane. Like, I didn't need to know what the halfback. I just had to get out of the road sometime. It looked like, no, seriously, it looked like Manly did that. I'm big. Big guys play big. Fast guys play fast. Smart guys play smart. And that's as simple. No, seriously, that's how rugby league's supposed to be played. But we try to complicate it. We try to make sure that we sound a little bit smarter than the next coach in the next press conference. They simplified it. They run harder.
I think
and
that
it worked.
was the frustration though with the Manly players. Like that, you guys have all heard it. This was spoken about for a long time under Anthony Seibold. Is that they didn't agree with the style of football they were playing. And with one game with Kieran, who obviously listened to the players and allowed them to play the game that they wanted, and in the flick of a switch, everything was so different.
Braith, I'd like to issue Manly CEO Jason King a formal apology for calling him brain dead for the appointment of Kieran Foran. My apologies, Jason. I won't run away from the fact that I said it was a brain dead situation because
I wasn't going to bring it up either.
I had to get it off my chest, Braith. Yeah. Right? I'm that type of guy. It was.
You sound like Bulldog all of a sudden.
No, he doesn't.
I called it a decision without any strategy, and it was a decision made to appease the fans. It was the right call for the right time for Kieran Foran, and I hope he goes on and has more success as the season progresses. But they do need to make a call, right? There needs to be strategy around this decision, and the sooner they make the call, the better it is for Manly, because then they can start to plan around recruitment, and that was the point I was making.
A big 4 to 6 weeks for the Manly Seagulls. What about the Broncos? So many injuries, but they name Adam Reynolds. Is he going to play, or is this just Madge's mind games leading into the game this weekend?
Well, I've heard he's very little chance of playing. He's got the abductor injury, and I don't think he'll be out there, no.
Anyone else?
Yeah, no, he is pushing it uphill, you would say. He did some straight line running at training today, but that's largely it. It's an abductor issue, and he's in serious doubt. Young Thomas Duffy, formerly with the Cowboys, did the majority of training today with the Broncos. So I would suspect that Duffy's the man to come in.
Is it a concern that Adam Reynolds, Ben Hunt, ageing halves have got injuries so early on in the season? Because it's always spoken about, right? Is what period of their career they're at right now, and what value they bring the team. And of course that is experience and success, but their ageing bodies may be getting the better of them.
Well, it was always going to become an issue. I do think that if you can navigate the season to get them playing and fit come the big games at the end of the season, well, then Broncos are going to be in a better position having those guys on board. So I think they've just got to, do whatever they can.
But they're not racehorses either. No. It's not like you can time the run. So I would think it is a fear for sure, and it comes. I can't talk about it. You guys have played.
The good thing is they got a lot of depth.
Until the end,
Yeah,
right?
they got depth. If they can rest them, but through the Origin period, you think that they won't be able to, right? Because they'll need all hands on deck. And they didn't finish last year's grand final.
We got Drinkwater and Reed Marnie coming up on the show. Could they pull off a shock win, which will last them, against the Broncos?
Well, I think
3 wins in a row.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you look at who the Broncos may be missing. Walsh, Hunt, Reynolds, and the Cowboys have really turned it around in the last few weeks. So, of course they can.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, stick around, journos. Up next, got Drinkwater and Reed Marnie. And next Tuesday on Foxtel and KO, the story of James McDonald premieres. Catch J-Mac from next Tuesday on Foxtel and KO. Welcome back. Time now for the Players' Perspective with Scott Drinkwater and Reed Marnie. Welcome, boys. Now, you had a pretty average start to the year, but you've won 3 in a row. You're flying now. What's changed?
Yeah, we didn't obviously start too well over in Vegas and down in Leichhardt, but I thought some of the things that we tried to do in those games probably just didn't get the mindset right around things. But we always turn to our training, and I think we've been training really well since the start of the season, and I think we're really getting the credit, prepping well during the week and getting the results on the weekend. So it's been a nice few weeks.
It's pretty remarkable though, and we've all been there. We lose a couple of games, the coach is under pressure, and it's hard being a town like yours in Townsville where everyone's so passionate about rugby league. So I think you're probably underestimating how much of an achievement it's been to turn this season around. It must feel good.
Yeah, it does. We stuck together pretty tight as a group after those first two performances, and as Reid said, we knew where our fix was. It was the way we were starting games, and that's we started training, I guess, to the way we wanted to play in that perspective. And when you're winning and you're a one-town team and you're winning, it makes life a lot more enjoyable than losing up here. So. Happy to get down to the cafes at the moment.
G'day, boys. It's Gordy here. Toddy mentioned on Saturday that there's a new 24-hour rule. Can you tell us how that works?
Pretty simple, mate. You've got 24 hours to enjoy the win, or you've got 24 hours to kick stones. So just something that we brought in the club, to enjoy the win, or almost enjoy the win, but also if we have a loss to kick stones for 24 hours, and then after that it's all about getting better and focus on the week after. So I feel like it's been a really good tool for us.
Reid, Paul Crawley here. Lots been said about, your exit from the Bulldogs. Did that send you up north with a point to prove?
Oh, mate, not at all, mate. I think I've just came up here and got to be Reid, and it's been a new change to me, a fresh start, and I'm really enjoying my time here in North Queensland. There's a great bunch of fellas here. We've got a really great squad, and led by Toddy and the coaches here. And I'm really enjoying my time here. But it's been great.
Scotty, Dave Riccio, just on Reid. You had a great combination with Reece Robson. What's Reid brought to the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, he's brought a really good training intensity, and he's got good leadership and he communicates really well, like at training off the field. And then on the field, probably just a level of expecting excellence from everyone. And Reid's going to get there and do his job, and he does it well. He fights for the whole game, or the whole time he's on the field. He's in and around the pitcher. He's chasing on the sidelines if there's line breaks. So, you just see that the game and the win means a lot to him. So, then obviously with the ball as well, allowing him to play his style. He's got a great kicking game, which allow him to do that and does that effective. And so just a lot of that stuff.
Scotty, your future is yet to be determined at the Cowboys. Are you heading back this way to Sydney? Any chance? What's your plans? Or stay with the Cowboys?
Look, it's been a lot of noise about it over the last couple of weeks, I guess, and it's getting sent to me a lot by friends and family and all that. But I haven't had a conversation with, I guess, Michael Lachlan, Toddy, about not being here. They haven't come to me. I haven't gone to them. I just guess, it's another day, in rugby league world where it's my turn to be, spoken about in the media. But as of right now, look, no conversations have been had. My name's been thrown out there, I guess, for other clubs, but at the moment, I'm a Cowboy until 2027, and I'd like to keep it that way. So if I can keep playing good footy and keeping, I guess, Toddy and all them, happy and impressed, I see no reason why they want to move me on.
Hey boys, probably be a sellout this Friday night. You're playing the Broncos up at Suncorp Stadium. What are you expecting from them? And it's probably a pretty good time to get them with the injuries that they've got.
Yeah, obviously it's my first derby game, so I'm really excited for that. The boys have been talking about it this week. It's hopefully be a sellout, and it's going to be a really tough game. And our Broncos have been going really well lately, and they've also got a few out this week, but we can't focus too much on what they don't have, and we just been focusing on us this week, and I think that's what we've been doing really well this year over the last few weeks. Is obviously we got the opposition we need to verse, but really dialing in and being the best version of ourselves. And I'm really excited for Friday night.
Scott, Paul Crawley here. Dave asked you a moment ago about your future. I'll ask you about where you think you're at as a footballer. Like you probably didn't know, but I've watched a lot of your career when you were a young guy coming through Terrigal, and all you've achieved so far. But you're 28 years of age. You're moving into those years where a lot of people say your best football's still to come. Do you still feel yourself growing every season, every week?
Yeah, I do for sure. I've said it, the other day. I probably started the year with the wrong mindset about how I wanted to play the game, and the first 2 games I probably struggled to get involved in the game and get into it. So I've just gone back and simplified it. The way I play the game, can be a bit, off the cuff and top style. So there's like if our team's going well and we're holding possession and on the front foot, it allows me to, I guess, come into the game easier and get hands on the footy. But improving wise, definitely, probably maturity wise, and then probably been more of a leader, more of a voice. So I still feel very young. So I feel like I've still got a lot of years ahead of me in the game. I'm not too concerned about anything at the moment.
Scott, Reid, really appreciate you guys coming on the show, giving you time. You're in great form, the both of you and your team. Good luck getting 4 wins in a row on Friday night against the Broncos.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
On you boys, what a remarkable turnaround, really. I know it's only early on in the season, but they were in a hole and under huge pressure and
Great turnaround.
Great turnaround. And I don't think anyone really saw it coming 3 wins in a row after the start of the year that they had.
Yeah, but it's been wonderful to watch. Like even Drinkwater, he was injured in the opening minutes of the first game. He's did his ribs and he's played every game since, and he's improved. And we see it, the quality of his play. He's one of the great excitement machines of our game.
And credit to Todd Payton. We had him under the gun. He was on the griller, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, Toddy. He shows us everything he's got in the coach's box and certainly post-match press conferences. But he has led them out of it, and full credit to him.
Well, we saw him in Vegas, and they wanted to represent the community, which is a really hard working. In the last few weeks they have, I'm just worried about that 24-hour rule, celebrating for 24 hours. How would that?
Are they kicking stones at the Mad Cow or what? They're doing it somewhere. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Crawls. As we head to a break, here's a sneak peek at the latest edition of Rivals.
Big news out of the rugby league camp.
Reece Walsh will not be able to compete in this elimination final.
Fascinating to see who will step up for their code.
Not going to go to grand final playing safe.
The winner will advance to our final Rivals test.
The losing team will be eliminated. Wow, Lara, this is high risk, high reward strategy. Yes! We love it, bro!
15 out from the line. Coruscant to Madden. Dewey learns. Dewey's got it. And Dewey scores! Adam Dewey. You can sum it up by saying good things come to those who wait. Dewey is on fire. On to Buller. Buller to Pierce Paul. Pass one. Back to Jermaine Buller. The Tigers go over. Claws are out. The Tigers get on a roll.
Welcome back. They were our fast plays of the round, brought to you by Aussie Broadband. Gordy, that's it for NRL 360 for tonight. Now it's time for Face to Face.